Hello and welcome to Tech Deals. Should you buy a cheap budget graphics card on eBay from one of those China sellers at half price? Today in this video, we're going to take a look at just such a card. That's a proper graphics card sold in America by EVGA, just like you'd expect, and in this box is a generic unbranded card from China. Now, according to the seller, this is a GTX 950. Now, I know that's not the current generation card, but it was $49 advertised as brand new. Used GTX 950s are $100, so it's half the price of the used cards for a new one. And furthermore, it claims 4 gigabytes of RAM. Is that really possible? Can you go onto eBay and buy a GTX 950 for $50? If you can, that's a screaming deal and worth doing if you're on a budget looking for a gaming graphics card. No, it's not going to play the latest and greatest games at 1080p higher ultra detail. No, it's not going to play anything at 1440p, except League of Legends. But if you're willing to compromise the details, run 720p, run medium, maybe not play Far Cry 5, then actually a GTX 950 will do quite a bit, especially with 4 gigs of VRAM. But $49? I doubt it. However, the seller of this graphics card has over 33,000 feedback on eBay, over a 99% positive feedback rating, and they are still selling cards. And I've had this card for a couple of weeks now, ordered it over a month ago, so they've clearly sold many cards, and they're still selling on eBay. If they were constantly getting chargebacks and complaints, sooner or later their feedback rating would tank and they'd be kicked off the platform. So perhaps it's possible. Now, my test bench back there is an i7-8700K. Way overkill for a graphics card like this, but plenty to make sure we're just testing the card. I'm going to plug it in and see what CPU-Z and GPU-Z have to say about it, and then I'm going to benchmark a couple of games and see if the performance is there. And then we'll see truly once and for all if you can get a GTX 950 for half price. Before we do that, I will show you what's in the box. I've actually already opened this for the August unboxing video, which you haven't seen yet unless you're on Floatplane, but you will see it very soon. In the box is an extremely simple package. There is a blank burned driver DVD or CD, I'm not sure which. There's no way in the world I would stick this from China into my computer. Drink coaster. Then they include a 6-pin to dual 4-pin Molex power adapter. Fair enough. And then we have the graphics card itself. Now, this graphics card doesn't really weigh enough to count as a graphics card in my opinion, certainly compared to that dual fan EVGA, although that's a much nicer card. The cooling fan on this is frankly terrible. The fins are very far apart. There's no weight to it at all. It's extremely lightweight. The fan, it feels cheap. This plastic shroud feels cheap. The entire thing just screams cheap. However, if it were GTX 1070, I'd be worried about that. For a GTX 950, assuming that's what it is, the cooler doesn't actually bother me. You can actually get passively cooled cards like this, so if it's at all connected to the memory and to the chip, it actually may be fine, even though frankly it is pretty bad. Now there's a label on the back which doesn't indicate anything other than NVIDIA GTX 950-4GD5, 4 gigabytes of GDDR5. It says V2 for version 2. And you can see there, it's just a basic PCB, nothing special whatsoever. Now the connectors are kind of interesting. You have a DVI-D port, you have a VGA port on a GTX 950, okay, maybe. And then HDMI? Well, okay, it's like a mini HDMI, that's definitely not a full size. I don't have a cable that fits that. So I'll end up using the DVI-D for these tests. There is a 6-pin power connector, PCI Express, like you'd expect on a GTX 950. A few 950s were made without it actually, but most have it. And otherwise, it's a single fan basic card that I'm not entirely sure what to expect. But let's find out, shall we? Let's go plug it in. Well, that was an adventure. Many hours of testing between there and here. You can see I've brought the test bench forward and there's another computer on the desk. I've tried everything possible to make this work. Now here's what's interesting. With no NVIDIA drivers installed, it actually does work and does display a video out. And I tested this on 2 different monitors using multiple video outs from the back of this. With the Microsoft's basic display adapter, meaning using display driver uninstall or removing all NVIDIA drivers from the system, it does in fact boot to Windows and it does show up. Opening up CPU-Z and GPU-Z, it does self-identify as a GTX 950. I don't think it is though, because the minute you try and install the NVIDIA drivers, the screen just goes blank. And I thought, well, maybe there's a problem with that or detection, or maybe because it's a Chinese card, who knows. So I took the card out, shut the machine down, took the card out. I put a card I know is good, an EVGA card, in, booted up, reran the display driver uninstaller, cleaned out all the drivers, reinstalled the NVIDIA drivers from scratch. Everything worked properly. The GeForce experience was there. No issues whatsoever. Great. Okay, we have a known working configuration with the current NVIDIA drivers. Shut the machine down, take this card off, put this one on, plug it in, turn it on. BIOS works fine, see the thing, and as soon as Windows starts loading, screen goes blank. Tested on the VGA, the HDMI, and the DVI port. Tested it on my 4K monitor there, you can just see the top of it, and a 1080p monitor behind me, which does have a VGA connector, that doesn't. So I wanted to be absolutely sure that all the connectors and 2 different monitors weren't the issue. Then I took the card off of my test bench, i7-8700K here, and I put it into that Acer Aspire i5 4460 desktop computer pre-built from a few years ago, thinking, well, maybe, I don't know, it doesn't work in a modern motherboard. I'll try an older motherboard, an older setup. Nope, didn't work there either. So it just doesn't work. And why? It's possible it's defective, but since it works with the Microsoft display adapter, I'm just going to go with my gut here and say fake card. The BIOS on the card reports itself as a 950. I don't think it is. I don't know what it is. I don't know why the drivers aren't working. Given the fact that it just doesn't work at all with the NVIDIA drivers on 2 different machines, 2 different monitors with a clean system, I guess it could be a bad card. I have contacted the company. They haven't replied back. Now, they have 3 days, according to eBay rules, to reply back to me. I am within the 60-day complaint period. So they have 3 days to reply to me. If they don't reply to me, then I can escalate it to eBay and basically say, wasn't sent a working card, it's defective, they haven't replied, give me my money back. And eBay will, I'm sure they will. I'd be shocked if they didn't. In any case, if your question is, can you go buy a GTX 950 or some other video card off of eBay from some Chinese seller for 50% off the normal retail price and expect it to just work? In this sample size of 1, the answer would be no. Now, this is not to say that every card you buy off of eBay is bad or every card from China is bad. Obviously, I have bought 1 card. Let me know in the comments down below, would you like to see this tried again with a different seller or a different model? Maybe something else will work. Probably not, but if there's enough interest, I might. I am interested in knowing your thoughts. I am going to put on the screen here the actual listing that I bought this from. That's a lot of positive feedback and a very high feedback rating, and they're still selling the card. I don't know. If it turns out they want to send me a replacement and the replacement works, I will update this. I'll put a comment down there and there'll be a new video. I'll be shocked if I hear back from them. But in any case, this has been an interesting experience. Like this video if you like it, share it with your friends if you loved it. Remember, subscribe to my channel with that big, huge red button directly below. Questions and comments in the comment section and links in the video description, which will not be to this card naturally. Although I did actually order a different card from an American seller, which I'll be doing a video on that separately at some point in the future. Paid a bit more for it, but it was still a good discount. I'll talk about that in a future video. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you next time.